The UTPA volleyball team off to a historic start. Could they keep the momentum alive before the start of WAC play? Take a trip to the U.S. Amateur Championship with Bronx golfer Chris Felix. And get your tissue boxes ready. Bronx baseball and women's basketball are ready to warm your hearts. This is Bronc Country. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Bronc Country. I'm Jonah Goldberg. The University of Texas Pan American joined the WAC over the summer, and the Broncs are already putting teams on notice. The UTPA volleyball team opened up 9-4, the third best start in program history, entering this past weekend's matches. Let's see how they did. We pick up the action Friday night at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. A few Bronx fans made the trip. Opening serve, Maria Kleefolk with the kill. It's 1-0 Bronx. Next point, that's Krista Freitas serving. Kleefolk and De'Ara Reynolds combine for a block, and the Bronx have a 2-0 lead. Very next point, there's the dig by Freitas, the set by Nicole Masaki, and the kill by Alicia Watson. It's 3-0 Bronx. Well, Corpus comes back to tie it up at 5. Haley Durham having none of that. 6-5 Bronx. A little later on, the Bronx down 8-7. Nosheen Merchant serving, and that one's not coming back. Turned out to be a theme this weekend, more on that later. First, a block by Kleefolk and Watson ties the set at 10 apiece, but the Islanders go on to sweep the Bronx 3-0. Positives from the Bronx come from Kleefolk, who had 7 kills, 3 blocks, and hit .375, and Nosheen Merchant, who had 20 digs and 2 aces. The Bronx drove right home after the match, getting in around 1 a.m., and we're right back at it 14 hours later against Houston Tillotson at the UTPA Fieldhouse. Pick it up, opening set, Bronx already up 8-1 after Krista Freitas ace, and she picks up another ace to make it 9-1. Next serve, Freitas again, ace again. The Bronx take a 10-1 lead. The Bronx had a season-high 12 aces, and although this next volley didn't lead to one, Maria Kleefolk finds the seam, and it's 11-1 Bronx. A little later on, it's 17-3, Alicia Watson with the left hand, 18-3 Bronx. Next serve, Macy Singleton. What a match she had. In her first extended playing time of the season, a season-high 18 digs, including one right here to lead to a Haley Durham kill, makes it 19-3 Bronx. Move ahead to the third set. It's match point for the Bronx. Watson's attack, sent back over the net, and then fellow freshman Corinna Cuff says, "Don't worry, I got this." Sends the Bronx to a 3-0 victory. Cuff played in multiple sets in a match for the first time, finishing with a career-high 6 kills while playing in front of her parents.
I was very proud because they haven't seen me really get as much action as I could have. And so now that they have finally been here to see that, I think they have really seen what they came to see.
She's gotten some moments here in the preseason, and she's taken advantage of them. But when you've got Haley Durham and Maria Kleefolk in front of you, who are putting up stellar numbers night in and night out, that's that's tough to find some playing time. But she's going to have her chances this season. She's going to find her moments. There are going to be nights where the opponents are keying on Maria or Haley or both, and so Corinne's going to have to come in and show them something different. So today was important for her to get those reps and to get that familiarity with our team and just that game competition.
The Bronx got Sunday off, but visited Texas Southern on Monday and fell 3-1. Despite the loss, the Bronx are now 10-6, and head coach Brian Yale is happy with the team's strong start.
To be where we are coming out of preseason is a great step for this program. We set a pretty high goal for ourselves in preseason. We needed to play a lot of teams that we were going to see similar styles of, going into WAC play. And, we did that, and we were successful with it. And we also learned a lot from it in the matches that we lost. So, we're coming out in a good spot, and I'm really excited to get into WAC play.
The Bronx are tied for the second best start in program history and have already matched last season's win total. The Bronx have at least 17 matches remaining. The only better start, which was 40 years ago, ended with a postseason berth.
It's great to hear. It's encouraging. It tells me that we're heading in the right direction. But we also know we've got a lot of work to do, and so it continues that motivation is what it does. And finally getting some validation this year with some of the things we've been doing. It only leaves us wanting more.
And here's how they've done it. Certainly Maria Kleefolk and Haley Durham have dominated in the middle, and there's been strong play by returners such as De'Ara Reynolds, Krista Freitas, and Nicole Masaki, as well as freshmen like Alicia Watson and Anjane Janda. But the key stat to look at is the digs. No one Bronc is getting the majority of the first hits, and the spread out passing and increased back row depth have been a boon for the Broncs this season. Going deeper, though, Bronc sophomore Macy Singleton, a member of the vaunted back row rotation, thinks that part of the reason the Broncs have improved on the court is because they've improved off the court.
We're a whole new team this year for sure. The chemistry between everyone is so different, and I don't know, we have new players for sure. That definitely helps, and we're just more confident this year. Starting off to a good start has definitely given us a lot of confidence, so it helps in the games.
People are noticing that things are a little bit different down here, and so it does put a target on our back. In the past, I think people have kind of, we've been the underdog, and we're not necessarily that anymore.
If the Broncs want to keep it up, the journey starts Saturday when they host preseason favorite New Mexico State at 2 p.m. at the UTPA Fieldhouse in their first ever WAC contest. Doesn't get any easier from there, as the homestand continues Monday at 7 p.m. against Utah Valley, picked to finish third. Then later in the week against Idaho, picked to finish runner-up, and Seattle, picked to finish fourth.
We have to execute kind of like we did today. We have to take care of our side of the net. We have to serve tough, keep teams out of system, and our blocking game has to be solid. We're not necessarily touching every ball, but we've got to take away that space so that it makes it easier on our defense. The teams we face are going to have some very tall players across the front row. New Mexico State's going to be big. There's a 6'5" All-American up at Seattle that's helping them, this preseason and do some things. So, the level of volleyball, the height of volleyball, I think gets a little bit bigger as we enter the WAC. And so we've got to do our job defensively and frustrate teams and, earn our points that way.
If you've been following the countdown to tip-off on the UTPA Broncs Instagram account, we're just 43 days away from tipping off the college basketball season. In fact, both Broncs basketball teams are just days away from starting full team practices. The men start tomorrow, and the women start Sunday.
You have a 42-day window to get 30 practices in. It allows you to kind of bring the kids along a little slower and maybe avoid some early injuries and some of the bang-ups and different things you have trying to get a team ready. It used to be you went 6 out of every 7 days. Now, you can go 2 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off, and kind of bring the kids along a little slower.
In the meantime, the Broncs able to take part in off-season workouts. Broncs coach Dan Hipscher on what they've been working on.
Well, a lot of the individual workouts is, just what it's called, individual work. So what you try to do is skill development, and combined with that, playing some 2-on-2 situations, trying to get kids to understand how to play with other people.
The Broncs opened the season November 8th against Sam Houston State. Like the UTPA men's basketball team, the women's basketball team underwent a lot of changes this offseason with a new coaching staff and a host of new student athletes. The final change was made a few days ago when the Broncs welcomed Anthony Anderson to the coaching staff. Anderson comes to the Broncs from Lamar State College, Port Arthur, where he was an assistant coach for the men's basketball team last year. He spent the previous season at Paul Quinn College, where he doubled as associate head coach of the varsity team and head coach of the JV team. Broncs head coach Larry Tidwell is excited to have Anderson on board to round out the staff.
We're very happy to have added Anthony Anderson to our coaching staff. Anthony comes from a background of playing at Florida International for a nationally recognized coach in Isaiah Thomas, and he's also already got in 3 years of college coaching. He's very active in the recruiting fields, and that's what we're after, is somebody that's very connected, because again, as I preach time and time again, it gets down to recruiting. Now, in the scheme of things, what he'll do in our basketball game plan is he's going to be responsible for a lot of guard play. He's going to be working out and doing a lot of developmental play with our guards and even our post players. He will add a definite strength to us in the strength and conditioning program, and then he's going to be very active in doing a lot of our scouting reports and learning how to cut up film, video, tape, anything we need to do.
All of Anderson's college coaching experience has been with men, but he's not concerned about any potential difficulties in transitioning to the women's game.
Honestly, there is no difference. All I see when I see basketball is that basketball. I did a lot of strength and conditioning when I was at Lamar State Port Arthur, and honestly, I don't see women nor men. All I see is the basketball. It's universal.
The Broncs open the season November 8th at home against Shriner. And hey, Broncs basketball season tickets are on sale right now. Men's tickets start at $75, which works out to about $5 per game. Women's tickets start at $50, about $4 per game. Doesn't get much better than that.